Alright, hello, this is Frank Carcass. I'm going to do a video here on some customizations for making yourself bases, especially if you didn't know how many you needed of the fancy type that you can buy at Historical Board Gaming. They're acrylic markers. Or you're just, not quite there yet, like I was, and you wanted to work yourself. You wanted to play the game, but you didn't want to drop another $100 or so on markers. So here is my quick solution. What it is these are 3/8 square tiles. They've got rounded edges, and the backs are grooved so that they can grip the tile set that you may use. I picked those up in a craft store. These are just, mosaic tiles in the crafting section. I ended up buying a couple of packs. You'll notice that some of mine are just absolutely stuffed full and some have way less. I've got double the reds and browns that I have of everything else. Just random packaging in there. So when I picked up the packages, I picked up 2 different packages for $10 or so, just to get a wide assortment of colors and all their numbers. So that's them. These are all smooth. They're not going to cut your fingers. However, when you buy them, definitely recommend you check all of them, because I had one broken tile in there, and they're glass, so that's sharp. But yeah, no, we've dropped these on the floor, stepped on them, walked on them, all sorts of other craziness, and they have not become damaged, so I'm quite happy with those. And I was actually looking at printing off little labels that I could glue on here, just like the markers. That way, you can print off your own image very similar to this, or custom to however you want. These are really nice though, so I don't know if that was worth the time and effort. But it all depends on what you want, right? If you want it your way, then do it your way. Now, here's my little list of what we got with the global pack that we were originally playing with. We had 20 minor factories, needed 18, so that was nice. We had 18 major factories, but we needed 20. Kamikazes, we needed 6, that's perfect. Naval bases, we only had 32, and we needed a grand total of 50. Definitely not nice. And air bases, we had 30, and we needed 32, just to do the setup. So we wanted to play, and we didn't want to order a bunch of these things, and half of these things weren't even available yet. Oh, I'll just throw them in there, why not? These fancy acrylics markers that Historical Board Gaming has. At the time, they didn't have all these around. They've certainly added to their selection of parts and pieces. So what we did, let's zoom that in here, is that we ended up having to do some of this fanciness. Let's see here. The air bases, the cardboard ones you get. These are the ones you can buy from Historical Board Gaming. And these ones right here, they're actually just a tiny bit smaller than these, but so close that you can't really tell the difference. They are slightly thicker, but so be it, right? So that's the air bases. Naval bases, didn't have enough, so we bought these. I just stamped them, the air base, naval base, and shipyard, with red, with their initial A, N, and SY. Because if I did just an S, it would be a sub base, right? So that would be confusing. I picked these up. They have the same symbol, but I don't know why some say Navy base and some, or naval base, and some say naval port. It doesn't really matter though on the map. all you see is the anchor. That's all you need. And for the forts here, or the factories, these were confusing because the miners were listed with a 3 on it, and they can only actually produce 1. For this video here, I'm just using these miners also here as an example of what you could do. And honestly, you could do whatever color you want. It don't matter. But this seems to be the color scheme I went with, so that's what we're using. So yeah, the black chip with the 1 stamped on it, because that's how many it can build. Or if you want, you can use these factories that came with the original Pacific and Europe. This is our house-ruled medium factory. It's halfway in between the other two, but I'll get into that in another video. And this is the major. It's got a number 10 from Global 40, Axis and Allies. And this is our Avalon Hill. And this chip here with the 5 stamped on it is just our glass chips, same as the other stuff here. So yeah, it came with a wide assortment of chips. All this stuff here, you can do whatever you want. Wiggle it around, change the order. It don't matter. Pick something that works for you. Some of these colors are pretty close. If that's an issue for you, eliminate one of them. Don't matter. Now, with the rail here, we didn't have these damaged rails. We were just using these chips here. So you can either make that a damaged rail or say, hey, this is rail, so that's a damaged rail. It's that simple, really. It's same thing, escort duty. I got these chips now, or these markers, but you don't need to do that. Pick a color, any color. If you want to do yellow to match those chips, or you can just do it on the damaged, because no cruiser gets damaged, so you're good, right? Now you want to have a damaged battleship, or pick a color, black. It don't matter. That's up to you. I'll go into these chips in more detail and how I use them on my games in a bit. Same thing, pick a color for convoy. Don't matter. Okay, this ship's going to be doing some this sub. Let's see if I can find a sub here yet. Oh goodness, these things are so tiny, and I got to mix them with my transport. So there, say that sub's doing a convoy raid, or make it orange. Your pick, right? Like, don't matter. You can also get these colors, but I use those for markers, or counters, but yeah, red, green, white, don't matter. Pick your color. Right, so there's that. Here's an example right here of what I did with some fortifications. I'm using the D-Day pillboxes here. They are, there you go. They're a little hard to identify on the map, but that's why these are stamped, so that you can tell they're different. And I've been using these as coastal guns recently, although they're hard to see. So for a while there, we were actually considering using something like this. So here, I'll show you how I stamp that stuff. I picked up these stamps here and the numbers. There you go, that's what it's got on there. And yeah, all these things do is they lock together. So you just pull them apart. There you go. I want to do ones on my factories. There you go. Tap her in the ink. Slap her on. Done. Easy. Another option I picked up was these here. I don't even know what brand these are. It doesn't really matter, I guess. There, I picked these up at a Michaels, so Studio G, whatever. These were in that impulse buy section at the front. and I think they were like $1.50 each, or maybe $1 each. I also picked these tiles up at that same craft store. These things were, like I said, I bought 2 or 3 packs for $10 a piece. So, you know, not too bad. And the nice thing is with this stuff, you could use it immediately. I didn't have to wait for shipping or anything. I just went to the store and bought it. So I'm going to give you a little example here. These are permanent ink stamp pads. You can get them in all sorts of little colors. I have actually owned these for probably close to a year ago that I stamped the red on the naval bases. And this metallic pack here, I stamped these on the factories, about a year ago. And I tested it out today, and the ink still works. So I'm just going to use this little pad here. We've got this for a F. We're going to use the red here for a fort. Tap her on there, get some ink on it, and there you go. You've got an F. You got a fort now. Let's see. We got the Charlie symbol, or C. And there you go. Pretty easy to tell that, eh? Let's zoom that in a bit. There, see? Coastal gun or a fort. It's not that complicated. Pretty easy to see. Yeah, I'm just going to get some of this ink off of here before I get it all over my table, because that would be horrible. I would really lose my mind. Kind of taking a chance using my map as a backdrop, aren't I? Alright, now because I'm stamping these on smooth glass, it's all polished up. It doesn't want to bond very well. Like all paints, it doesn't bond to a smooth surface very well. It needs to be roughed up with sandpaper or something for it to stick. However, another very viable option is I just use this. This is one of the different brands I used. I've used other ones as well. Actual lacquer works, but it's absolutely not healthy for you, and stinks. You're gonna find you getting the uncontrollable not good. So yeah, wear a respirator if you're doing something like that. This is just a medium stink, clear non-yellowing top coat, basically. Gloss, semi-gloss, flat, matte, whatever you want to call it. It doesn't matter. It's a preference thing. They all work the same way. In fact, the higher the gloss, the harder the surface. So the more of a beating it'll take, because all the hardeners in most of these paints is in the clear gloss. All right. Yeah, I used to paint for a living, so I kind of know what I'm talking about there a little bit. That's why your kitchen and bath paint is semi-gloss usually, or it's got a lot more hardeners in there. That's the clear coat stuff. Where was I getting to? So yeah, the reason for spraying these things, do I have a good example here? Yeah, here's an excellent example of that A that got all smudged up, beside an A that did not. Notice how the whole tile looks kind of reddish. Here, let's just pick that up. Yeah, that whole tile looks kind of reddish. That's because my fingerprint was smudging these things up, because it wasn't. This is about a week after I stamped them, so it's not a matter of the ink being still wet. It was a matter of the surface the ink was on wasn't holding the ink very strongly. So we clear coated these, and it's now staying on there. As you can see, I can't scratch it off. So yeah, there's just a thin sheet of clear coat on top of that stamp. But the problem with these things here is you touch it. I don't want to get it all over my hand, so I'm just gonna notice how it streaks. And because it's on glass, if you actually work at it, you can rub it right off. There's all the ink on the paper towel, or somebody's hands, or your map. So if you're gonna stamp anything like that's like this and the color's not staying on it, just give it a clear coat and it'll stay. And it'll stay on what you want and off of what you don't want it on, like this table, this map here. All right. Yeah, that's it for making your own bases. Not sure if I went over this or not, but another option you can do is see all these graphics here. All that is somebody designed some artwork on a computer and they etched it into these acrylic pieces, right? I don't have any equipment to do that. However, pretty much any person in the world has access to a computer now. Otherwise, you wouldn't be watching this on YouTube. And yeah, you can just figure out the size of these things here, or whatever you're using. Little pieces of hardboard that you just chopped up in squares. It don't matter. And make yourself a little computer image of whatever you want. You could copy this thing here. You could make something similar to that, or you know, whatever you want to do. Make your own style of bases, your own whatever, and just print it off, cut them out, glue them on here. Don't matter what you use for glue, as long as it bonds properly. In fact, if I was going to glue, I would probably glue to the bottom where it's ridged. And then do what I did with the other stuff, like my roundels. Either paint them on there with some clear coat nail polish, or give them a spray. Don't really matter. That's your choice. Alrighty, I'm going to end this video here. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you have any comments, suggestions, or any options that you've done yourself that may work better than what I have here, let me know. I'm always in the market for finding new ideas. Since I started working on this table, it seems like it doesn't matter where I go. It could be the home and garden show. It could be the kitchen department, and I'm looking at the utensil trays going, oh, those would be really good to hold my pieces, and you know, or going to the toy store and going, oh, maybe I should buy this $20 board game because it's got some pieces inside I want to use on my map. You know, I don't know. Maybe I'm obsessed. Anyway, hopefully you enjoyed this and found it informative. And yeah, if you want any, have any questions and want answers, just put it in the comments there and I'll get back to you. Thank you very much. Enjoy your day.